After the keynote with the triangle, and it was very quick, I know that. But we just want to point out that you guys are right now in the middle of the triangle. You had your school sessions yesterday. A lot happened in those school sessions. We've heard feedback about fantastic discussions. We also know that some people are still looking for indicators. That's fine. But we just wanted to bring you back to this idea that we're prototyping, we're trying to plan for sustainability, and we're leading. And all of this fits into our mindset checklist, and so Tom's going to take us back into that before he explains the game that we're going to play this morning.
Good morning. One of the major things that we'd like you to take away from this conference is to kind of adopt a systems thinking mindset. And that's why we gave you this list of habits of mind. The feedback yesterday from my own school's group about the process of coming up with a central challenge from your data and also identifying indicators. They came out and they said, we failed. We haven't got any. And we had this conversation about what happened. And they said, we had these amazing conversations, but we didn't do what we were supposed to do. And the answer to that is that it's fine. You're doing something called embracing ambiguity, which in simple language is dealing with a lack of certainty. Your schools don't function in a really certain way. And I think compassion doesn't really function in a really certain way. So you have to get comfortable with adapting. And so this morning, we've had to adapt in order to be able to play the game we're going to play. The game we're going to play is really based on helping you to look for connections. It's also less significantly about finding leverage points. Now, leverage points is technical language. It's just where can you intervene in your system? The main thing here is exploring relationships between things we know happen in your schools and influence compassionate action. So, can I just, a show of hands for anyone who hasn't managed to get, hello? Can I get some help with this thing? I'll just shout in the meantime. How many people have not managed to get like an indicator in the back of their name tag? Okay? That's okay. What you're going to do before we play the game is you're going to need to open up, take this name tag off, open it up, grab a pen from the front, and choose one of these indicators that are on the front here. So, actually, can you do that now, please?
Just clip it on. Maybe clip it on here.
Do we need to do it even if we're facilitating? Yeah. Okay.
Do you have paper or something to write?
Just write it on the back of your thing.
I don't have my thing.
Okay.
I've got. I left my house.
No problem.
Pretty far away.
How are we doing? We good? Okay. So, we're going to play a game called the Systems Web. And there's going to be about 15 different people in the room who are holding a ball of string. And what they're going to do, once we start the game, is they're going to move to a place in this room. They're going to put their hands up, and you need to go and find one of them in mixed up groups. Don't go with your school. It's a connection session. The idea is that you go and get mixed up. So the person's going to be standing, they're going to have the hand up, they're going to get a group of around 10 people, and once they've got about 10, they're going to kind of close the circle, because that's the group they're going to play the game. Okay? And the person that's facilitating the game is going to start off by talking about what's on their the indicator that's on their name tag. Now mine is, collaboration activities in class time. So the reason, I'll explain why I'm going to use that, because I think in classes, if you spend time collaborating, you learn about how to work with other people, and I think that builds compassion. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look around the circle, and with my ball of string, I'm going to see someone that I can make a connection with. And I'm going to pass the string to that person, and I'm going to explain the connection that I'm making. So Anne?
Mine would be number of activists who engage with our students in assembly.
All right, so I'm going to say that I think that time spent collaborating in class helps to create activists who are willing to play a role in assemblies, and that's the connection. And what's going to happen is each person in your group, you're going to keep on making these connections until each person has made a connection. And you have this web of 10 people, all with these links, these systems links. And the idea is we're doing these things. We're explaining our own indicators relevant to compassion in our school context. We're exploring and explaining connections between other factors. And towards the end, if we get there, we might start reflecting on, if we were going to try and change this school in the interest of compassionate action, where might we change? What point might we change? Where are all the connections? Where's the influence? To get this basic idea of leverage points. Okay? Yep, it can go back to the same person. The idea is that the string goes naturally around the circle. Whenever someone's got the string, they can see a connection, they pass it that way. But you play the game until everybody has ended up making a connection, if possible. One more example of a connection. Go for it.
So mine is listening for understanding, okay? So I might want to connect with Tara, who's got tolerance of ambiguity. And how could I make that connection? So that's what I would want to talk about within the circle. How would I make a connection between those two? It's okay if you don't have words instantly to talk about your connection. Think about it for a second. But what would be that connection between us?
Well, so one connection then, like if I'm going to go tolerance for ambiguity to listening for understanding, if I'm really going to be able to not know, I have to listen without that voice in my head that says I want to talk. So I'll throw to Jennifer and say, I'm connecting tolerance for ambiguity to listening with understanding because I want to really listen and stop the voice in my head from always wanting to talk.
And then I might come back and say yes, because I have to listen with the understanding that I'm not going to know everything and I'm not going to always have an answer. But that doesn't mean I can't be empathetic in my listening and not just hearing.
That means you have to read each other's indicators before throwing the string.
Yes, you need to see each other's indicators so that you can make a connection that means something. The other thing to add is that when you're playing this game, help each other. Yeah. The idea is that you're building a kind of common understanding together. It's not about being right and wrong, it's about exploring relationships.
Would it be helpful if we all read our cards first together? And then
Okay, so a suggestion is that we all read our cards first. Fine, that works. I think now,
Yeah, and a couple of people don't have their badges. So if you don't have your badges, remember what you wrote down and say it out loud.
okay, so I think from this point on, we just pass it on to the people that are facilitating the game to help do it in the way they think is best. The basic instructions are there. So what I'm going to ask is the people with balls of string to find a space in the room and to put their hand up and to get a group of approximately 10 people around them. Everyone needs to get up. Yeah, go for it. do that. I've watched some amazing conversations. The idea of leverage points is just if you pull on the string now, I mean, hopefully you can feel where most of the tension or where most of the connections are in your little system. And the idea is that you take this type of thinking when you go back into your school action planning groups, and you do this for real with your own school systems indicators. So I hope that's achieved that objective. If we can kind of gather up the string and slowly find our way back to our seats, because we have a keynote starting in 5 minutes. Thank you.